My name is Joshua. I used to be a carpenter in the city, but then I had the bright idea to drag a 32-foot wooden sailboat into the woods of eastern Canada where I'm living off-grid. Built in Japan in 1966, for almost half a century she sailed the seven seas only to be marooned on the other side of the world. I aim to fix that. The only problem, I've never worked on a boat before. This is a boat in the woods. November 25th, 2025. Time to fix the battered shelter. It took a beating earlier in the month when the tail end of Hurricane Melissa passed by offshore. The tarp has been the weak point in this shelter. I got it because it's see-through, but it tears way too easily. The only reason the frame is damaged is because I took off the bracing to make some adjustments and didn't get it back on in time for the wings. I started the repair process by pulling off the tarp and readjusting the position of the frame. I had tried to hold it upright with ropes bracing it to the boat, but had to recover the boat due to rain, so I nailed on some temporary bracing to the frame itself. November 26th. Part of this repair process is going to be reinforcement, so I spent the morning harvesting birch poles to double the frames. This will bring the spacing down from 8 feet to just under 4 feet between the poles. Once I was done, I thoroughly checked for ticks and then headed to the sawmill for the other part of this repair/upgrade. November 27th. The RAV was in desperate need of having that wheel bearing replaced, and my friend Chad and his shop were available today. Whoever put anti-seize on the passenger hub of this car, I love you. No, seriously. The other side was not so kind. I ended up replacing both wheel hubs, rear shocks, and rear differential fluid. Chad also fabricated a new lower shock mount and exhaust hanger for me. His help has been invaluable, and he's the only reason that I have this car on the road. No, this one's stuck. Just ripping the bearing apart.
Well, so be it. There we go. Oh, you.
November 30th. I spent an hour or two installing a basic guy line setup on my chimney at the tent so that the wind wouldn't blow it over. I also replaced the 90-degree elbow with a solid one, put in a 24-inch horizontal pipe, and moved the stove farther from the wall and put it at a 45-degree angle into the center of the tent. I'm still not happy with this setup. I think I have to switch to double wall flue, but it's 5 times the price. I should also stack some bricks behind the stove to trap some heat and to protect the tent. I'm starting to think that I may need to swallow my pride and stay at my friend's cabin nearby if it gets too cold. Later, I started ripping the 1x6 boards I picked up from the sawmill into 1x3 strapping, which I'll install onto the birch poles to create a stronger frame for the shelter. That evening, while I was trying to straighten out the leftover frames, the whole thing flopped over. I wasn't hurt, and the poles are light enough that nothing was damaged. It's just annoying. I'll use it as an opportunity to start fresh using the poles from the old frames. December 1st. I started to process the birch trees I cut using one of the old poles as a template. Then I started to assemble the frames. There were a few weather reports calling for a big nor'easter in a couple days that might bring 25 to 40 centimeters of snow. I knew I had to get the shelter up before it hit, so I tried to work as fast as I safely could. I started to feel a bit off near the end of the day. December 2nd. I'm definitely getting sick. This morning was cold and the decks were icy. I ended up changing into a pair of winter boots I picked up at a second-hand store. Spent the whole day trying to get as much of the shelter done as possible, but progress was slow due to sickness. Mostly fever, aches, chills, and fatigue. I'm not sure when I became so prone to sickness, but I'll rest once the boat is safe. I got about 2/3 of the shelter finished and then tacked on poles at the front and rear. My friend then came over and helped me drape and secure the tarp over everything, and then I passed out in a warm cabin nearby for 14 hours while the storm came through. December 3rd. Still feeling horrible, but decided to put on the winter tires in case I need to get to the grocery store or the doctor's office. I have an alignment scheduled for next week, so hopefully they won't get too chewed up. The little Rav is unstoppable now, and the shelter held up well. We ended up getting mostly rain since we're close to the coast, but still got about 8 centimeters of snow. Glad I got one thing finished this week.